Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the WRRAP podcast with me, Lee G. Joining me, as always, is Harley and Jamie. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hello.
And now, normally at this point, I'd introduce James, and he'd give me because he's the kid, he's the baby. So to replace James, he's got some like baby stuff to do, and anyone that's been following James will know he's got baby stuff to do. So we'll deal with that here. But so in his place this week is Josh from Ospreys supporters. Massive that it is at the minute. Good evening, Josh. How are you, mate?
Evening. Thanks for having me on. I'm good.
So he's even got the rugby top on, boys. I give it up. I haven't even bought a Scarlets one this year. That's how bad it is this year. Is that this season's one, mate?
Oh no, it's the bat jersey. It's
it's one of them.
Yeah, it's my favourite.
Yeah, you Ospreys boys are like that, and you this right. So James is away doing baby stuff, as we said last week. So what we'll do over the coming weeks is we'll just put a message out. First one to reply gets to come on the pod. So that's why Josh is here, isn't it? Josh, first one to reply, and on you came. Lovely jubbly. It's a very detailed recruitment process. So yeah. Right, so let's start with drink of the week. Harley, you can start this week, mate. What have you got for us this week?
Going back to one I've been before, as I said, I got a bit lazy with my drinks of the week, and I stopped off at the local co-op and just bought their 3 for £6. So I've got a Doom bar. So I've come all the way back up to Wales to have a drink that's basically on the doorstep back home. Yeah, we're all familiar with the wanky bollocks of it. It is definitely better in Cornwall than it is anywhere else because they brew it to a different recipe, but standard beer. I'm sure Lee would much rather be drinking this than what he's drinking.
Oh, fucking hell, man. They brew it to a different recipe. What do you mean?
Basically, when Sharps got bought out by Coors, as part of the deal, Sharps retained the right to keep the original recipes for distribution in Cornwall, and Coors then make it cheaper and a bit more cheaper to manufacture, so the recipe isn't quite the same.
I did not know that.
This is why I am the ultra nerd and know things like this.
I feel I've been educated this evening, Harley. Thank you for that, mate. So, Josh, have you got something to join the merry club with, my friend?
I have. I've gone for Thatcher's Haze tonight because it's what I had in, I guess. So
my daughter's favourite. Not that I give my 1-year-old alcohol.
First one's in early.
Okay, Jamie, what have you got, mate?
Well, look, Ken Owens has retired, which I will talk about in Newsdesk. So I have got the perfect beer to celebrate that. I have from Harbour Brewery, the Sheriff. Ken Owens beer, boy. What do you think of that? So let's read the wanky bollocks on this one.
Go on then.
The Sheriff is Harbour Brewery's tribute to Ken Owens, a true rugby legend, playing for Scarlets and Lions, as well as enjoying an outstanding Welsh international career, which has seen him become our country's most capped hooker. Like the Sheriff of Carmarthen himself, British Maris Otter malts, wherever the fuck that is, provide a reliable and solid platform. Whilst Cara Gold gives this beer its rich golden hue with subtle hints of caramel, along with a creamy mouthfeel from naked malt oats. So there's some wanky bollocks for you right there, but this is Ken Owens beer, the Sheriff Golden Ale, 4.2% from Harbour Brewery. And do you know what? It's quite nice too. There it is.
See,
lovely colour on that.
The bit I don't get about Harbour Brewery is I live 10 miles away from it, and I can't buy the fucking stuff around here. It's all gets shipped up to Cardiff.
Right, I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid for this. You need to join Wales Ales, because since I've joined the Wales Ales Beer Club, I've had a lot of Harbour Brewery beers. As you know, they've been on this pod. I've had the Sebastian Chabal, I've had Foxy, I got Ken, and there's another couple of Harbour beers as well. Yeah. So you need to join the beer club, mate.
Well, do any of you remember Brains' special one they did for when Alan Wyn Jones became the most capped international? And it was called Ale Wyn Jones. And the only thing I can say, the only positive thing I can describe it as is it tastes like you imagine licking him would be, because it just somehow was very sweaty.
I've never managed that, Harley, to be honest, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it was my brother-in-law gave me this description, and then I thought about it, and he went, "Yeah, you're spot on. Also, you're a weirdo." Related to me by marriage, so of course he is.
I tried joining the ale club, but they don't deliver down this way. They only deliver up the M4, and half the bloody stuff comes from down this way, which is a pain in the ass. So yeah, I feel a strongly worded email to both Mike at Harbour Brewery, who I used to play with, and the guys at the ale club. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just frame this, okay, for everybody that's listening and watching. Watching is easier, okay, because I was doing my weekly shop and I went across the beers bit and I've gone, done that one, done that one, done that one, done that one. So I'm limited in where I can go. And I saw this can. I thought, well, that looks quite cool. You know, that looks quite good. So it's from Vocation. It's a special edition, and it's got like 2 red skulls on the front there. And then I didn't read the rest of it. That says "Death by Cherries," a cherry sour beer.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Right up my street, ladders. Oh, yes.
Now, if anyone remembers the last time I got given it for Christmas. That's what it was. My son thought it would be hilarious to give me a sour beer, which I did manage about half a pint of it, but half a can of it. So anyway, Death by Cherries. Not for the faint-hearted. Only the brave can handle this intense mix of sweet and sour cherries. The bold flavors will leave even the biggest adrenaline junkie wanting more. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this already.
Sounds banging. Sounds absolutely banging. I'd love that. Yes.
That, right.
Oh, go on then.
This is going to work well on the audio, but there's some.
You're going to hate it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, my Lord. Oh, man.
I want a can of that. You're going to send me a can of that stuff.
You can have this one, mate. I'll spit it back into the tin and send it up quite happily for you. Oh, my Jesus, Lord. Right. Okay, so before we quickly move on to News Desk, I was asked this week, I was asked twice. Once I was asked very politely, Lee, where is the Beyonce dance? And the second time I was asked quite forcefully, fucking hell, Lee, where's the fucking Beyonce dance? So just before we do News Desk, I've got a lot of stuff on. I've got it there. I will do it at some point. So yeah, keep liking our YouTube page. And at some point, I will put it up there, I promise. And because Harley likes it, I'm going to leave it up there until we reach 300, and then I'll take it down. Okay, so there we go. Right, Jamie, News Desk.
Yes, News Desk. Plenty of news to get through. So, as I mentioned earlier, Ken Owens, Wales' most capped hooker and oldest captain, Ken Owens, has retired from the game, aged 37. So Owens made his Scarlets debut at the age of 19 in a pre-season clash against Northampton at Franklin's Gardens back in 2006. And he played for 18 seasons, joining an exclusive group of players to make 250 appearances. He captained the Scarlets for a record-breaking 7 successive seasons, surpassing the great Phil Bennett. Ken played 91 times for Wales, featured in 3 World Cups, and captained his country for the first time during the 2023 Six Nations. And of course, he also toured with the British and Irish Lions in 2017 and 2021, playing in 6 tests. I mean, what is there to say that hasn't already been said? Captain, leader, legend is there. I know that's normally reserved for John Terry, but I do think it does apply to Ken Owens. Fantastic player. Lee, your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, it does just seem like he's been around forever, does it? And it's one of those things. Yeah, he's heart and soul. You know, it's where heart and soul comes from Ken. Still can't get to the bottom of the sheriff. There are about 6 different stories as to why he's called the sheriff that I can work out. All of them perfectly legitimate, and probably an element of truth in all of them. But yeah, I think we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him massively. But both, you know, Scarlets in particular, but on the national level as well. You know, it's a shame he couldn't make 100 for Wales, because I think he probably deserved it. But yeah, when he had that first injury, I think he had a first neck injury, and then he came back, and we were all a bit shocked that he came back after that injury, because that would have taken most people out and ended most careers. So to come back and then to have a back injury after that, I think he just, yeah, you do get to that bit where you have to go, okay, I've got the rest of my life to lead, and there's no point being able to do that if I can't walk or smile or nod or take a shit without having any pain. So, yeah, fair play to the guy. Gonna miss him a lot. But I hope he stays involved in the Scarlets and in community game, because loads of people would just love having the sheriff around and all that kind of stuff. It'd be good.
Yeah, legend, and he will be missed in Welsh rugby. Harley, any words for the sheriff?
I think we did go into it quite in depth and kind of central, but one thing I would like to add is Andrew Ford has put a fantastic little highlights video for him, which must have hurt, because as a fellow Cardiff fan, because the amount of times he did something fantastic against us was painful to watch over the years and rewatch over the. But I mean, to be honest, you could have done an 8-minute video of just him singing the anthem, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone sing with such passion and Hoylers. Yeah, I mean, just the man, he was Mr. Welsh. So many times when Wales needed just someone to do the dirty, make those hard yards, just to lift the team. Everyone always, would always look to Alan Jones and stuff, but the amount of times you'd see actually was Ken Owens. I mean, I do want to bring up one of my favourite moments, and it's not a try he scored, it's a try that George North scored.
Oh, we've seen that.
I remember the one.
Yes. And it's the come on, I don't get many of these.
He was on the wing, wasn't he? He was outside George North with a crossfield kick or something, wasn't he? Yeah. It was a fantastic backs move. George North goes over, and Ken's on the outside, hoping to receive the pass. And it's like, George, you've got like thousands of those bloody things. Let poor Ken have some. He hasn't had that many for Wales.
Yeah, it was a great moment. There's so many memes and funny gifs going around of Ken. What about you then, Josh? I know you're an Ospreys fan, but was you a big fan of Ken Owens?
Oh yeah, you gotta love Ken Owens. I think I can't remember the last time someone else was first choice Wales hooker. Probably mid 2010, Scott Baldwin maybe. But ever since then, whenever he's been fit, he's always played, isn't he? So I just hope he stays involved with the Scarlets, because if he can pass that knowledge on to the next hooker coming through there, hopefully he won't be lost to Welsh rugby now.
So you have a lot of experience. We won't be doing any Ray Elias jokes now. Right, okay, so moving on. Let's talk about the Ospreys then. So, signing news coming from them. As expected, Wales scrum half Kieran Hardy, he signed for the Ospreys, and you leave Scarlets at the end of the season. They've also re-signed James Fender, 22-year-old lock, I should say. Played very well against the Stormers. What do you make of that then, Josh? That signing, Kieran Hardy from the Scarlets. Are you happy with that one?
Yeah, really happy to be fair. I think they need someone to be pushing Ruben Morgan-Williams, which I think Kieran Hardy probably will be. I'd say Ruben Morgan-Williams' box kicking is probably not his strongest area, which is something probably Kieran Hardy's a lot stronger at. So again, hopefully they can work together on that. But yeah, 9's been a position we really need to strengthen since we lost Webb last season. So yeah, really happy with that one.
Yeah, it's a good pickup, I think. And then moving on to Cardiff then, Ellis Bevan and Rhys Littrick, they've signed new deals at Cardiff. And backs coach Richie Rees, he's going to leave at the end of the season to take up a position at Haberdasher's mum of school. Sounds like posh, doesn't it? The former Wales scrum half has spent...
That's actually my own school.
It does sound posh, yeah. Oh, is it? Posh. Fair enough. He spent this past 6 years at the Arms Park as an academy transition and backs coach. What do you think of that news then, Harley?
I mean, it's a bit sad, but also at the same time, we've been sort of here before. Sherratt's been, Sherratt is an out-and-out attack coach as well. And, there's always been a bit of talk of how they're double jobbing. And, thinking more of like a wider way of, like, I'd be magnanimous and thinking of like the whole of Wales and the development. We're talking about how we need to get the school system up to par so that it can drive through. So actually having, a former international player heading up a rugby program at the schools, similarly with Di Young taking over at the job at Cavac. I'm not going to go into some of the background stuff behind that, but just on the face of it, having these former players helping drive those younger and younger generations is going to improve. It'd be interesting to see what the plan is with the attack, whether Sherratt's going to take that on as his own, or if we're going to bring someone in. All the rumours of Feed the Fish and he's making another Cardiff return as in the attack coach this time. Is another story.
That would be fun.
Um,
That would be really fun, wouldn't it?
Love to see a Dan Fish coached attack outside of the Welsh Premiership or EDC. As for the two re-signings, I think fantastic bit of business. You know, I think we were hoping to go into next season with Bevan and Jamie Hill. Jamie Hill's gone to go play Shoot Shield, and you know Bevan's been really good. I don't think we've necessarily missed Thomas when he's been away with Wales or whilst during his injury. Like I feel like Bevan's been very good. You know, he's almost a player in the same mould, which is exciting. Which means that you know Jockey can carry on with this style of rugby. As for Rhys Littrick, I think before he got injured just before Christmas, he was probably our form signing and probably one of the better performing signings we've got in, especially considering, you know, we sort of had to scrounge under the bargain basement bin for him. So I'm quite glad to see he's going to be here for a few years.
Yeah, he's done all right there, Trick, hasn't he, in fairness? So, yeah, good news for Cardiff. Speaking of Cardiff, but more specifically the RAG. So, the EDC, Cardiff RFC, have been awarded a final place in Welsh Rugby's new 10-team elite domestic competition, with Neath missing out again. Oh, it's poor old Neath, isn't it? Disappointing news for Neath, who, of course, conducted this big PR push to nail social media, trying to earn our last spot. And they were getting support from the likes of Jiffy, Shane Williams, Sin Zambrook, comedian Russell Kane, and that bloke from Dirty Sanchez. And he also says then the clubs will... I know, this incredible caliber of people, and they still didn't get in as well. I mean, you know, it's shocking, really. Clubs will receive an increase in investment from the WRU, and they will work within the new salary cap. So there'll be more details about the new competition, and that's going to be announced as soon as the Premiership champions have been crowned next month. So we'll wait and see for more details on that. And then in other news that's been announced today, so Wales have announced their autumn international fixtures with 2 matches on a Sunday and no fixtures outside of the test window. That's a shock, isn't it? So for the first time since 2000, Wales's autumn series will consist of 3 matches rather than 4. So Gatland's men are going to face Fiji, Australia and South Africa, with all the matches being broadcast on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. Also, for the first time ever, and I quite like this, and I do actually think the WO deserve a lot of credit for this, regional season ticket holders will be given a priority window to buy tickets ahead of the public sale, which will take place on the 6th of June. I mean, they should have brought that in before, in fairness, but it's better late than never. I think that is a pretty good move. So, yeah, this is the autumn sorted. So we're going to be playing Australia, Fiji, and South Africa. How do we feel about those set of matches? It seems a little bit uninspiring to me, but what do you guys think?
Go on, Josh. You can go first, mate. You give us your rundown on that.
Our 3 fixtures, to be fair. There was a lot on social media about us not getting Georgia, which was a nice little side piece. But we haven't played Fiji for a little while, and well, in the autumn window, I think it'll be a good tester for us. I think. The fact they're not playing one outside the test window is good for the regions. Hopefully, we'll get the boys back a bit earlier. Not that it matters for the Ospreys, because not many of our boys have been picked by Gatland anyway.
They were all injured, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, they were. Come on.
Morgan Morris was injured.
He was. That's why Morgan Morse was playing.
Honestly, yeah. Well,
if James has his way, Wales would be playing in the alternate black kit, and the dragon, the logo on the shirt would be changed to, well, you know, some kind of eyepiece of some. So yeah, some you know, and then it would have to. Well, maybe they'll change the name as well. We give them a nickname for the day. But yeah, you remember when Gatland took over and he only won because he had like 13 Ospreys in the side and all of that.
And Martin Williams, who was man of the match.
The thing is, though, there is a catch-22 about this because, like Josh says, it's good for the regions on the one hand, but not having our extra tests means there's less revenue coming in. So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You know, we all moan about our extra tests, but then we also moan that Welsh Rugby hasn't got any money. So it's an interesting move. Also, according to our colleague, Hugh Griffin, a.k.a. Catboy, he says that Wales have played Australia at least once every single year since 2005, except for 2020 when the world was locked down. That's 27 times in 20 years, he says. Now, am I the only one that's getting fucked off with playing Australia almost every year? I think it's so tedious. Absolutely tedious.
Yeah.
Why can't we play someone else?
And we're going to play him every 4 years in a World Cup along with Fiji anyway. So, I mean, what's the...
Oh,
It's not like they're an unknown.
I know.
But
And, can we play someone on our level, like, Burkina Faso?
It used to be that when a side would tour through the autumn, then they'd someone would come to us and they play 3 tests against us, or they play 2 tests against us, and then they play club sides and all of that kind of stuff. And I know the game has moved on, and the world's a different place and all of this. But there's something to be said about, when we went to South Africa and we played South Africa 3 times, it built a little something, and I know it was COVID related and you had to go to one place and stay there, but it does kind of add a little bit of extra to that kind of series, and you can do something different with that series. So it's lovely to play different sides and all, but it becomes a bit samey. That special.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
We always play Australia now. It feels like every single year, and I'm so bored of them. I want to play someone new, someone different,
Well, let's say if you were if this year you were playing South Africa, so let's say South Africa toured Wales this year, and then in the summer we went to North America, Fiji, Argentina, America, Canada, or whatever, and then the year after All Blacks. Do you know what I mean? You're talking 3, 4, 5 years in between Australia coming again, and then Australia is a big thing because we haven't played them for a while, and we're going to play them 3 times. Blah 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 blah. So it's a shame that I like having 3 tests and not getting shafted outside the window, and I take on board the stuff about the finance, Jim, but that's the WRU's job. The you look at the space that you've got where nobody plays there, and you go, actually, we could be doing a lot more than fucking walks around the top of the bloody building anyway. So yeah,
I mean, there are a shit ton of concerts coming up this summer.
Yeah, but that's what should be happening. That is what should be happening. That's what that whole concept of the roof was there for, so it can be used all year round for that. And the rugby season is a very, very small part of the year that pitch is used for rugby. And if it means we play 3 tests, but actually somebody can get Taylor Swift tickets a bit cheaper, then crack on we go. Or Beyonce, could get Beyonce. We could have Beyonce concert next year. Oh, now then, I'd be there. I'd be doing my dance. I would. Sorry, I distracted.
No one wants to see that, Lee. No one wants to see that.
You've just been blacklisted now from all Beyonce concerts. Just want to pick up on Lee's point about the thing. The only reason that the sort of autumn nations, you've got the Southern Hemisphere sides going around all the different countries, is because it's really easy to do that. The problem is you can't go and do a test, which coincidentally goes on to the whole nonsense of the World League, which is what they're expecting us to do. You can't really expect to go South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji in like a 4-week block. Travel. I mean, everyone's moaning about the travel in the Irk. That's just up and downs. That's I feel like that's the reason why those tours sort of work that way. But you're right, we should be playing different teams. Like, why are we not playing a game against Portugal? But that could be a good Wales A fixture where you put a team at 1.5 out and just go. And the joy of that is when we inevitably lose to Portugal, it doesn't affect the ranking points, so we don't end up in another pool of death like 2015. Literally the only benefit to an Wales A fixture for us. Yeah, but I mean, we're focusing on Australia. Sorry, but like South Africa, we've been playing every year. I mean, this is the first year in forever we've not played New Zealand.
I guess.
I mean, they usually chuck that on as an out of test because if it's not hard enough to beat the All Blacks, do without any of your best players.
But the All Blacks
could be my help.
I think Portugal, you'd struggle to sell out 2 tiers, maybe. So financially, it's basically a wasted game for the WRU.
Yeah, I've said it's one of those ones. I get why they pick these big teams, but the problem is you've got to strike that balance. So like, if they are leaning towards more selling out concerts, doing other events at the Principality. I think we're hosting a couple of games for the Euros 28 or 26, whichever year it is. I don't follow the round ball at all, but driving up revenue there, then maybe we can afford to actually grow the game and stop making it all about, oh yeah, we want to grow the game, but we don't want to actually because it hurts us in the pocket. And also, frankly, if you don't want to go see Wales Portugal, just ignore Wales. If you don't want to go see Portugal play, you should, because Portugal are fucking great to watch.
They're entertaining. Yeah. And we played Canada, didn't we, a few years ago, and that pulled a decent crowd. You just make the prices lower, make them competitive, do a family fun day, and I think you would get a decent crowd. But it probably wouldn't sell out. But yeah, just a bit bored of playing Australia every year, basically. But anyway, moving on. Last bit of news, Richard Ebbard. So he's been named CEO of Wales Rugby League. His new role will see him create partnerships to support the development of rugby league in Wales at all levels, from the grassroots up to the senior international side. So, yeah, that's an interesting role for him, and very best of luck to him.
What's the odds that they're sponsored by his rum brand by the end of the year? Levy and Moran and Jones's rum sponsors them by the end of the year. I saw it on sale in Tesco's. It's a bit too pricey. It's like 25 quid a bottle or something ridiculous like that. So
I haven't tried it yet. I want to try the cherry one, but I just haven't got around to tasting it yet.
Yeah, well,
I think that says an awful lot about where I live at the moment. When I said £25 for a bottle of rum, well, that's cheap.
You're just showing off now, Harley. Well, I got a little bit.
You've seen my drinks cabinet.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, we have. So just in terms of pod news, so there's a couple of bits. We mentioned the stuff about the EDC, James. So we are putting together an EDC podcast for next year. I've got a couple of boys that are interested in that, and that will be quite nice to just have that little layer beneath us not beneath us, but it's in rugby terms, it's beneath us. So yeah, that'll be online hopefully before the end of this season, and we can just do a little bit of a rundown and an introduction ready for next year. And then we also have a WhatsApp channel now for the pods. So if you just want to go find the pods, it's on our WhatsApp channel. Don't ask me how to find it. I don't know. I think I've shared it on social media. I'm not 100% certain, I'll be honest with you. But it's there, and there are people that follow it already, and they see it. So when I work out how to share it, I'll share it again, and then it's there. So if you don't want to put up with any of the other bollocks that we talk about on social media, and you just want to watch the pod, then that's the place to get it from, because and it goes on there first, because sharing it to there is actually really easy. Again, ask me how to do it, not a clue. I did it once last week. It worked really well. I thought, this is lovely. Off we go. I know I've forgotten so I've got to relearn everything again this week. So, yeah. So we've got things coming. Lots of things coming, EDC thing. And speak this very lightly now, boys. We may have a sponsorship deal in the offing.
We're going big time now. We're selling out. We are selling out.
So it may not come off, but if it does, it'll be quite fun. How we're going to
say who it is?
That's free advertising from. They can bloody well pay for it. I don't know how we're going to demonstrate their products if it happens, boys. But I'm looking forward.
You can do that.
Oh wait,
X-rated on YouTube.
It's going to be one of those things that we're just going to have to sit there and go, now this is what this does. You're just going to have to take my word for it, because
they'll give you a script.
Yeah.
They'll tell you what to say.
But hey ho, if it comes, great, lovely jubbly, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about games from last weekend. So let's go in order. So Friday night, Ulster versus Cardiff. I'm going to light the touch paper there, Harley. Oh, he's having some liquid refreshments to get himself wound up first.
He's psyched up now.
Charging the engines. So Harley, let's go. Ulster versus Cardiff. Referee, off you go.
Oh, I really, really don't want to break my usual rule of not talking about the referee, but my fucking word. I mean, first of all, right, do you know, I'll give the people who are defending the referee's decisions their credence. So, yes, with the Ulster try, they couldn't go back enough phases to look up knock on. But how the fuck, if you're a line judge and there's a line out in front of you, can you not see John Cooney drop a ball?
That's a fair point. Should have seen it, shouldn't he? Should have been
How?
picked up on. Yeah.
If everyone comes, if even the Ulster coach is saying that was a knock on, and that's before we get onto the boot being kicked out of Thomas Young's hand. The Reece Carey, was it a deliberate knock on, wasn't it? I couldn't even see him touch it. I didn't even see him touch the ball. And if you look at the path of the ball, it doesn't actually look like it's deflected or changed angle in any way. So I can't. But ultimately, we just weren't good. We should have had that game put to bed. Like, the fact we were 7-0 down when we were against 14 men. I think my central co-host Dan from Cardiff Rugby Life pointed out this season when we've been one man up, we've had an aggregate score of 33-31. So clearly we're just panicking. I think a large part of it is because we've been these plucky losers losing bonus points that on the rare occasion we get in the 22 and we have a chance, we're just overplaying and then we're losing the ball. But that's enough of the crap. What I really want to talk about is Theo Cabango. How good did he look after yet another serious injury? It was just so nice to see him back on the field. Josh Adams as well, I thought was playing really well. Really depressing for Faletau to come back on, but I thought
sad, so sad. I was almost in tears, because I love Faletau, and it was heartbreaking seeing him being taken off like that. It really was.
Do we know how bad it is yet?
Not yet.
No,
it's his shoulder, apparently, though, isn't it? It's not his arm.
Yeah, it sounds like
it looked like it was his arm.
A dislocated or popped shoulder. I'm gonna sort of allude to something, but maybe the Cardiff Central guest next week might be able to shed a bit more light on it.
So, I mean, how frustrating is it? Because we talk about this every week, Harley, yeah, don't we? And it's like, and your favorite saying so far this year is we should have won that, and we all sit there and we all go, probably yes, but you didn't. So how, at least you're playing well. That's your only kind of like saving grace is you're playing well and there's something there. But if you're playing well and still not winning, wouldn't you prefer to be playing shit and still losing and coming away with the same amount of points and knowing that if you turn this round and you play well, then do you know what I mean?
What you mean be the Ospreys? Yeah, absolutely. I definitely would take 8 wins.
Well,
8 wins over 3 anytime.
Is it better to be playing well and still losing?
I do think there is a little bit of context, considering that people didn't expect us to even be playing well at the start of the season. Most of us were giving it no hope. I think on this pod, most people predicted Cardiff would be the bottom region, despite the fact, Scarlets.
I think you predicted that they were bottom region as well, to be fair, Harley. I think you sat there for an hour and went with...
I said a good season for them would be if they could maintain... Well, I said a great season for them, and the best they could hope for was maintain a home winning record, which they've definitely not done. But yeah, it's encouraging because although they're overall playing well, you can see with it, the errors are usually at that last pass, and that will come because... At the start of the season, we couldn't even get to that last pass. It was the first or second pass was going shit. That's gotten better. Our defence has improved massively. Our breakdown threats going. Our set piece still isn't the level I'd like. I think it could be, which hopefully with the new forwards coach, that will help. But I said, it does help that at the start of the season, Matt Sherratt said this is going to be a painful season, and he's been right. It's been a very painful season as a Cardiff fan. But with the takeover and all these other bits, we can sort of see the positivity. If we're in the same situation this time next season, though, I can imagine a lot of that positivity would have eroded to nothing. So, it's... And the other thing, so I think Catboy pointed out to me, said, if your fixtures have been flipped the other way, so like we're having this block of games at the start of the season and then easier games now. He's like, do you think you'd have won more? And I think we probably would have. But looking at the way we're playing now compared to the way we played against Scarlets in those derbies, we should have beaten the Scarlets.
Hey, mate,
I think we would beat them. I think we would have done the job against Benetton and Zebra.
I thought that when you played against us, I thought that was the best you played all season, mate. So
No, it wasn't, and you know it. You don't even watch the games because you don't want to pay for them.
Did any of you see the WRU match report for this game?
Yeah,
the official
this is
WRU
an
match
interesting
report?
one.
It was so funny. So I'll read it to you. I'm not going to read it all, obviously, but I'll just read the first paragraph, right? Cardiff were robbed of a first win in Ulster for 14 years and their first win of 2024 when the TMO joined forces with the referee to rule out a hat-trick try for Fio Cabango and instead awarded a penalty to the home side on the 22 at the other end of the pitch. Now, credit to them because they're spot on, isn't they? I think a lot of people were surprised by that, but I think, yeah, let's have a bit more honesty. Good on them, I say. They were robbed. They were absolutely robbed. I felt for Cardiff. Josh, not like me, but I did feel for him.
Yeah, I thought Matt Sherritt did well to keep his cool after the game because I was fuming. I'm not even a Cardiff fan, and I was absolutely livid because there was a Thomas Young one as well where he kicks the ball out of his hands, and whether it's intentional or not, you can't do that. That should be a penalty try. Then you've got the Reece Carey knock on, which was marginal at best, and the clear knock on in the line out. That's 21-point swing. And I heard Ulster fans saying, oh, yeah, but Ellis Jenkins put his hands past the ball for one of the penalties. I'm like, yeah, all right, 21-3 then. It's still a massive point swing away in Ulster. I was still fuming about it now. So I'm amazed that Matt Sherritt managed to keep his cool, to be fair. But yeah, WRU was spot on that one.
They were.
It's interesting that maybe we do need a little bit more from the WRU every now and again to just back the regions and stop being... we've got to be neutral. We've got to be seen to be neutral. No, fuck them. Go.
They are tweeting more though. Have you noticed lately? If you're on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, they are tweeting a lot more now. They are promoting the region's games. That's something that I've noticed. So
there was a social media manager job coming out, so maybe that's whoever's got that. It's gone fix. I remember.
Yeah,
that just
they should be doing it though, shouldn't they? They should be doing it anyway. They should have done this a long time ago. Promote our games. It would help.
Maybe that's.
I was worried it'd lead to more Cardiff. It'd be more jokes about it being the Cardiff Rugby Union, as it seemed to be going around after the EDC announcement. But I'm glad you're all agreeing that it's not just me being a bitter Cardiff fan thinking this was.
Let's move on to the.
It was not a good Friday night for me, especially with a 1-year-old who's trying to get over some jabs.
I think most people could see, it was a bad night for Cardiff and the referee, and we could all see that. Oh, by the way, people who say that Reece Carey knock on was clear and obvious are just lying. They're trying to be wise after the event. I have watched this so many times, right? And I've seen so many slow-mo replays and GIFs. If you've got to slow it down so much where you see Reece Carey just touch it, then I'm sorry, it's not clear and obvious. And I still can't make up my mind about it, but there's no way. I think Cardiff were robbed.
Also, because there was no ruck in that, because it was all free-flowing. If Cardiff had slowed down, had a couple of pick and goes and scored, would they have still gone back for it?
That's a good point.
Because the knock-on's only 2 phases, but foul play, because it's counted as foul play. I'd argue if he has hit it, it's not a slap down to us. I wouldn't say that's not what they call a deliberate knock-on. That. If anything, it looks like if he has made contact, if anything, he's hooked it back. Which won Bennett Sabetha's World Cup semi-final.
Yeah, I think the TMO is a really good thing. As a concept, I like the TMO as a concept. I think some of the examples of I've not got a problem with the referee missing something. Because the referee is human, they've got 2 sets of eyes, they can't see everything, all of that. And players, particularly at that level, will try to cheat. That's reality. If they can get away with it, they will get away with it. The whole point of the TMO was to bring in a bit of neutrality, bring in 20 different camera angles so you could see genuinely what's going on. And I don't think that it's being used the way it should be. There are so many times where the TMO should have come in and said something, that, all right, it may be 3 or 4 phases back, but, if they don't commit that foul, then those 3 or 4 phases don't happen. And there are too many times where the TMO makes the wrong decision, where it's blatantly a knock on, or it's blatantly not a knock on, it's gone backwards. It happened. You can drop the ball and it goes backwards. That can happen.
Yeah.
And too many times we go, oh, the ball's been dropped. That means it must have gone forward, and it doesn't. So, yeah, I'm all in favour of TMOs. I just think we need better quality TMOs, and that's the issue.
How many times on this podcast, so we don't often, we try to steer away from referee talk, don't we? Because it can be.
It's because Josh is here. I blame Josh.
Yeah, that's what it's all
Josh.
Josh.
We're fine. We're all.
But how many times have we spoken about the officiating in this league? And it is a problem, and it's not a recent problem. It's been a problem for a long time, whether it's been Rabo Direct, Guinness Pro 12, Pro 14, URC. The officiating in this league just isn't good enough compared to other leagues. And the problem is when you see decisions like the ones that we saw in Belfast go against Cardiff, you get that section of Welsh supporters who think the URC is a conspiracy, and they go into conspiracy theories, it's fixed this league, it's corrupt and all this nonsense. It's bollocks, it's not corrupt, but the officiating just isn't good enough. And I'm afraid it's not really getting any better. And it's a shame because it's a good league. Apart from that, the officiating is really letting the league down.
So talking about making mistakes and errors.
Just
and
before
that,
can I add one thing?
Oh, that was a really good look.
You spoiled this momentarily.
Oh, come on, man. But I'm going to make you drink cherry sour beer next week, Harley. Go on, man.
Right. Just one point I want to say is just to the hero who went on to bothered to log into Wikipedia and change Andrew McMenamin's place of birth to Ulster. I salute you, sir. That was funny.
Some people thought that was true, though, didn't they? They actually believed that it's real. It's not real, though, was it?
If you listen to him speak, he sounds Irish, though. That's the thing.
Neutral officials as well.
Yeah.
Neutral officials.
You never get neutral touch jerseys anymore.
No.
Or team. Right. Anyway, talking of mistakes and errors and problems, let's move on to the Dragons game. That would have sounded so much better a couple of minutes ago, Harley. Go on, Jane. Let's.
That was a nice segue, wasn't
it? to be fair, I thought the Dragons were playing really well, and then they'd make a mistake, and it would all go to shit. But when they had the ball, I thought they were really good. I'm
going to disagree with you because I don't think we played well at all, and the scoreline actually flattered us. So during the week, Dave Flanagan talked about what he described as Jekyll and Hyde performances. So he's talking about the difference between our home form and our away form. So he pointed out that on average, we 18 points at home, which ain't too bad. Whereas when we're on the road, we're conceding over an average of 40 points, which is very bad. So, I read Dave Flanagan's comments. I thought, fair enough. He knows the situation. He knows where we need to improve. He pointed this out to the squad as well. They talked about it. And I thought the match day squad that we named was actually pretty good. A little bit unsure about the balance, the back row, but I thought that team would be good enough to be competitive and give Bennett a good game. Unfortunately, though, what we saw was the same old Dragons. Poor discipline, passive defence, creaky scrum, clunky attack, compounded errors. We're giving the opposition easy points. We've done that too many times this season. We got badly beaten at the breakdown. Benetton won 11 turnovers, Dragons only won 3. It's just a familiar sight now for long-suffering Dragon supporters. And at half-time, we were 19-0 down, and you're like, well, it's game over now. I mean, some teams can come back from that, but you just knew it was game over. And in the second half, we did mount a comeback of sorts. We scored 3 tries. It was an interception from Jared Rosser, a very well-taken try by Dane Black, who showed really good pace, actually. I thought he had a pretty good game, Dane Black. I normally prefer him coming off the bench, but he started this game, and I thought he played pretty well. Shea Hope as well, youngster from Newport IFC, he scored after a good break from Rio Dyer. Bizarrely, we could have come away with a try bonus point if we showed a bit more composure at the end. So the clock was in the red. We won a penalty. All we had to do was kick it to the corner, and Will Reed missed touch, which really did sum up the Dragons' performance. Very, very disappointed. And, I think questions have to be asked as to why the Dragons are so uncompetitive away from home compared to when they play up on the parade. Because I just think no matter where you play your rugby, obviously home advantage is key, but no matter where you play rugby, the basics should be a given. You still got to make your tackles. So I don't understand why they can't do that away from home, than when they can do it at on the parade. And at home, Dragons have won 4 out of their last 6 games, which is pretty good going for the Dragons. I'm sure we'd all agree. Where was the last time we won on the road? Well, we haven't won on the road since we beat Scarlets at Park of Scarlets in April 2022. And it's just not good enough. It's piss poor. It's not good enough at this level. And I think questions have to be asked. But in terms of positives, Wainwright came off the bench and he was great. As always, carried hard, gave us goal forward. Dane Black, as I mentioned, was really good. Jared Rosser is looking really hungry at the moment. He had another good game. And Ivan Owen, I know there was that silly pass that got intercepted, but I thought he worked incredibly hard. But unfortunately, it was just another Dragonsy performance, I'm afraid. The away sickness continues. So we got Connacht at home now on Saturday, and hopefully we can bounce back. But the away form is a big concern for me. I'm getting really tired of seeing these passive performances away from home. We got to toughen up, we got to be better and stop making so many errors. But a disappointing afternoon in Treviso.
Go on, Harley. You've been itching to say something. Go on.
Because it's something I really don't get. Your 2 best back rowers for many seasons now have been Wainwright and Keddy. Why is Di Flan sticking them on the bench and then having Basham at 8, where Basham then concedes his usual penalty of him deciding that he needs to face plant at every ruck?
Well, they wanted to manage Wainwright, didn't they? That's why they had him on the bench. I think Keddy should have started, though. The problem is I don't like Lonsdale at 7. I like Lonsdale. Me and Gavin have spoken about this on the pod. So we both like Lonsdale and George Knott. But they're second rowers. And we like them in the second row. We don't like them in back row. And Sean Lonsdale is industrious. He's a good hard worker. But it doesn't work at 7. And it pains me to say this because I love Dan Lydiard. He is a Welsh rugby legend. Got a lot of time for him. But he's past his best now. I think we could all see that. He is past his best. So, the back row was pretty ineffective. Basham carried well, but there was a few errors. He did much of a pass to Rio Dyer on the outside, which would have been a try. But it's just very disappointing. And hopefully he didn't get the back row selection right and get a team selection right for Saturday, because I feel they need to respond now. But I'm getting really tired, as I said, of these insipid away performances. It's just not good enough, I don't think.
Okay. All right. So Josh, get yourself some cider inside you, man, right? Because this is your moment. Okay, this is the big one. That's a big slug. Good man. Right. Stormers versus Ospreys. Now the rest of us are going to sit back and listen for a couple of minutes now, mate. This is your moment. Off you go.
To be fair, one of you called it. Harley said Ospreys by 6 last week on the predictions. You then laughed and said Stormers by 17. So I don't know. I'll take your first answer, Harley. So you can have the first one. Yeah, I think the bookies had them 18-point underdogs for that one. And I think when we beat Lions away, 20-point underdogs. So again, massive underdogs. I think it's probably one of the best results in Ospreys history, if I'm honest. It's up there with the Leinster away in the final. Just because we've massively overachieved with the squad we've got. Back when we played Leinster, you're probably looking at the back end of the Galactico era. Whereas now, with the squad we've got, to win away at Stormers is, for me, massively overachieving. And I could literally go through the whole team and just say, oh, unbelievable. They were all incredible. I thought Nicky Smith made a bit of a mockery of the fact that Gatland hasn't really been picking him enough. He had Malherbe in his pocket all game. So hopefully he takes him out ready for the Bulls game this week. I thought Deeves was unbelievable at 7. It's going to be interesting when Tips gets back now, because you can't really drop Deeves after a performance like that, but it's Justin Tipperick. So I know in the Gloucester game they put Deeves at 6, Tipperick at 7, but I actually prefer the balance when you've got Ratty, Deeves and Morris, to be honest, because I think Ratty's been a massively underrated signing. I think he topped the tackle charts in that game for the Ospreys. So yeah, he was a great addition. Coming home he was. And yeah, I think it's the 3rd time Stormers have lost at home since joining the URC. So for Ospreys to have done that and got the try bonus point. And let's be honest, the scoreline kind of flatters the Stormers a bit with them getting that try at the end, that penalty try, and that losing bonus point. It would have been even nicer if we'd have denied them that. And I think after the Cardiff game, the Cardiff Ulster game, we were under a lot of pressure because I think a lot of the teams around us picked up wins this weekend. And I think we're under a lot of pressure to pick up some points. We've got Bulls and Leinster away next too. So for us to come up with a performance like that is pretty remarkable, I think.
Can I just say the one person that the person that got closest to the prediction of Ospreys and Stormers was me. So, which that's how out
much
of context
result it was.
Yeah, that's how wrong that result was. I was the closest on that. So, yeah, I mean, I watched that game with my wife, and my wife said, "They're not playing very well, are they? Why can't they catch a ball? Why can't they hold on?" My wife isn't a rugby supporter, so why can't they hold on to it? Why don't they just run at them with the ball and all that kind of stuff? And to be fair, the Ospreys made the Stormers look poor. I think the defensive pressure that they put them under forced mistakes, and that's not like the Stormers. They just put them under pressure, and I don't think they could live with it. It wasn't the most wildly exciting game. It wasn't the running and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't there, but in terms of pressure, yeah, you just blew the lid off the Stormers, and yeah, fair play. It shows it can be done. For me, it shows it can be done. And on the same weekend that Leinster lost to the Lions, and not just lost, but a proper loss as well. So it just throws the whole top half of the league into kind of like what the fuck happened there, sort of a thing. So.
Very impressive, wasn't it? I think any win in South Africa, like we used to joke about Cardiff Sharks, didn't we? Last season and stuff. But it was impressive. I think any Welsh team that goes to South Africa gets a win is impressive. And we look back at the Ospreys when they beat the Lions in the Challenge Cup, they had all them injuries, and I thought, fair play, that's a brilliant win. That's probably going to be the best win this season. But this just trumps it, because that is a huge result for the Ospreys to go to the Stormers. The Stormers are a fantastic side, and all the talk was from supporters that they just wanted to try bonus points. That was what they were hoping for. But they've got 5 now already. And the Bulls are going to be very, very difficult. They're going to be smart enough to have Munster win. But I thought it was a fantastic performance. Like, Josh already mentioned Nicky Smith. I've wrote this so many times on X. The fact he keeps getting criminally, ignored by Gatland is such a shame. James Fender and Adam Beard was brilliant. Adam Beard, as we know, gets a lot of stick on social media. I think when people say, what does Adam Beard do? I don't see him do enough. They need to watch this game, because I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He put himself about, and Morgan Morris carried hard as always. Jack Walsh is a player that I'm not really sold on, but I think he was really good in this game. And credit to Toby Booth, because they are comfortably the best Welsh team out there at the moment. There's something, I know rival supporters might not want to admit it, but I've said it a few times. There is something special building at the Ospreys. I think he's a fantastic coach, doing a really good job. But what we've got at the moment, we got Ospreys and Cardiff, who are leading the way. They're competitive. I know Cardiff ain't winning games, but they are competitive. And once it clicks for them, I think it will click. And then we got us then. We got the Dragons and the Scarlets. We're limping behind, aren't we? So
well, you speak for yourself, mate. I mean, we managed half.
Well, you are limping behind.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a good one for the Scarlets.
Let's.
You do win though. You still got battered.
If we can just play 40-minute games, we've got this fucking league sewn up. I'm telling you that.
Oh, you'd win the league if games are 30 minutes. Yeah.
We just need to pick which 40 minutes that we play for. But yeah. I mean,
is it like the Rabbit in the original Rabbit Pro 12 where you could drop your worst result, you drop your worst half?
Yeah, we'll drop 80 minutes. We'll drop 10 from that game, 10 from that game. No, I mean, the Scarlets game it got to half time and we thought, okay, yeah, it wasn't like we were in control, but we were competitive. We were in the game and we were in the lead. I can't remember the last time that I tweeted at half time, look, we're in the lead. Looking forward to a good second half here. We're in the lead. Fuck me. Oh, it's I'm not going to dwell on it because it is what it is, and we've seen it time and time again. Against Munster, we were 5 points behind Munster on 70 minutes, and somehow we ended up getting tanked by 40. There's got to be something in there. There's got to be a bit of dog in there that goes. Somebody grabs people and goes, right, okay, this isn't happening. We need to nail this down now and stop the leaks, because I think that's what we're missing at the minute. That little bit of dog, a little bit of Ken Owens, a little bit of that grunt, a little bit of experience to just go, right, okay, this is how we screw the game down now. First 5 minutes of the second half, first 10 minutes of the second half, they don't touch the ball. You go ruck, 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 ruck. They don't touch the ball. If we run out of ideas, you put it in the corner, and you don't do anything for the first 10 minutes of the second half, and you take the sting out of them. And then you build yourself into the game. And yeah, just fucking frustrating. I said I wasn't going to talk much about it, and I'm not going to. No, fuck it. Let's move on.
Would you like some good news from the Scarlets?
I don't know, because the way when you say it's good news, it's usually you taking the piss. So yeah, go on.
Well, the Scarlets have broken the 200-point score.
Fuck off, Harley.
Mark in the URC now, being the last team out of 16 to do it. And
did you see
this weekend? You've got the chance to be the first team to concede 500 points.
Oof.
With Zebra only 7 points off.
Did you see what the Scarlets tweeted? So they tweeted a quote from Dwayne Peel saying there was plenty in that game for us to build on. And you read the replies, and everyone's just like, what were you on about? Like, you got a lot of stick Dwayne Peel for that comment. But when you look at the first 55 minutes, I can see what he means. It was looking good. But what happened to the Scarlets is what I've seen with the Dragons over the years. When the pressure came on, you capitulated. And I know all about that because I've seen it myself. And it comes through a lack of confidence as well. The stuff you're talking about, I'm going to grant a bit of credit to that. I've been saying that about the Dragons for years. Yeah. But there was some positive to take out of it. But I'm afraid once Edinburgh stepped it up, it got a bit ugly then, didn't it?
Okay, we're rapidly running out of time, guys. So let's move on to Wales women. So Harley, give us a quick rundown of the Wales women from last weekend and a quick preview of next weekend before we do our previews of how many points the Scarlets are going to lose by on Friday night. So fucking depressing sometimes, honest to fuck.
That's very unlike you, Lee, to be like that. Very unlike you.
It's this fucking cherry sour stuff. It's having
the positive.
But look, I've actually drunk quite a bit of it. Is after you pass the first couple of bits. I'm not going to say it's nice, but once you pass the first, you can drink it. But the other stuff I couldn't drink. This stuff I can cope with. Go on, Harley. Wales women.
So if we put this into the context that coming into the tournament, we were, the strong rumours from everyone, all the pundits, the media, fans, was this was going to be a game that Wales were targeting. And, the idea was that, we were going to push from third into second, and make sure we cemented that spot, not only to be in WXV1, but to be a thing. And what we got was, frankly, not good enough for what was supposed to be a professional outfit. I really don't want to be a downer on the team, but it looks like we've stagnated since the contracts have come in. We basically built a solid foundation around good set piece and, physical dominant carries. That didn't work. One thing I would say is at least there were some signs that we were attacking and there was a little bit more free flow rugby. It wasn't just one up carry, but the skill level wasn't there. And the whole idea of Johan kind of picking such a core of the Gloucester Hartbury squad was the cohesion stuff. I mean, admittedly, you're missing very key players like Mo Hunt and Emma Singh. You sort of coordinate the game and the main points kicker. But it was just really depressing just watching them rack up try after try after try after try. Admittedly, not as bad as watching England versus Ireland, but it was just... It just made you think, what on earth have they been doing since the last WXV, and what have they done since the World Cup? Because it was the same sort of errors being made continually. It looks like we've got no actual pace out wide. The back five just looks all wrong. Gillen Cunningham was just desperately trying to get Natalia John, Abby Fleming, Butchers, trying to get all these key players into one thing where they don't fit. One of them's just got to go on the bench. I thought Molly Regan was good when she came off the bench again. Product of Gwalia Lightning, and Gwennon Hopkins looks. She came on and actually sort of went, no, I'm taking this shit. She is going to be a Wales women captain at some point. But yeah, I don't know what you thought. I know you watched the game as well, Jane, but.
Well, I've only seen highlights
depressing.
on Scrum 5, yeah. Do you remember when you said to me you thought Wales women were regressing, and then you was like, oh, actually, I'm not sure. But now I think you were right the first time. I think we are regressing. Johan Cunningham's under a lot of pressure at the moment, and I got to be honest now, all my answer, I don't know as much about women's rugby as you do, right? But he's saying things like, talking about the development and us being behind the other nations. But should we really be behind Ireland? I don't think we should we? Or Italy, or, I don't understand now how we made so much progress last Six Nations campaign. And this campaign has been a disaster. And, we're fighting now to avoid the wooden spoon. And it does feel like we have regressed.
So I think the reason why I thought we regressed was because things weren't going so well. It was a good result against the Red Roses. We improved. But we haven't improved any of our actual game plan, really. And the problem is we haven't gotten any fitter, so that side of things gone, because other teams have become more professional as well. So that fitness has gone up. And it's one of the things I think Squidge put a post about with Hannah Jones saying, we know where we are with it, supposed to be going for the third best team. And he went, well, that's the problem there. As soon as you say this is our level, that's when the teams behind you catch up and the teams ahead pull away. So we may not have gone backwards, but we stood still, and that's as good as going backwards in the way the game is constantly evolving. Like, Ireland is still in a hell of a shit behind the scenes. It took them to bring in a Red Roses coach, so they gave the most token level of giving a shit, and they flipped around the scoreline in 12 months. From us beating them 35-5, they beat us 35-5. And it looked like we did not fire a shot. We just were completely outmatched. We were beating up what was supposed to be our strength in the set piece and forward carries. The France game, like the Scotland game was close, and Scotland really improved. They are, they rightly should be on our level. But so that result in the England game probably made sense. And then these last two games, it looks like, I don't want to question the effort of the players, but it just looks like there's a malaise. It's like, well, we've got our professional contracts now. We don't, we don't really need to try, which I'm sure is not the case. Absolutely. But I mean, if we really, for me, if we want to think about Wales women as equally as we do Wales men, we should at least be held them to account to say, we're not seeing the improvements here.
So what's the expectation? Is it this week we play, or we got a week off and then there's another game?
We're playing Italy on Saturday.
Right.
So I'm going to be going to that. Then I'm going to the Cardiff Edinburgh game because
that's at the stadium instead of the Principality.
Yeah, so that'll be Principality game. So this is going to be the first time Wales women have played a standalone fixture at the Principality. They've played double headers like with the Barbarians before, and I think they've done Wales Italy there before as a double header with the men back when Women's Six Nations was tied in at the same time. And right, Italy probably haven't progressed as much as they probably would have liked to, since that they've sort of gone. They haven't gone for the whole full pro contracts. They've sort of gone semi-pro. But a lot of their players are playing in PWR, same as a lot of the best Welsh players are. They probably were fortunate to win against. They were probably fortunate to get the win against Ireland. They probably should have won. Didn't look great shape, but didn't necessarily look great shapes against England or France. But there's a real chance that we're going to have a wooden spoon this year. Like, it's an incredibly definite possibility for what was a tournament where we were supposed to be pushing for second, which in a way is a bit worse than what happened with the senior men's, because none of us gave them a hope in hell's chance, and we finished with exactly where we ended up, but we're still disappointed with it. Yeah, it's just really hard to, and it's looking like now, just to even get into WXV2, which is the second tier of this World League that's been introduced, we'll have to do a playoff against Spain. And I've watched Spain women play, and they look a lot more put together than we do. So like, there's a serious thing we could end up in that third tier playing teams like Kazakhstan and Kenya. You know, these are nations that they don't even get an option to go into the top 2 tiers. That's their level.
Okay,
And
so what time's kickoff?
It's not looking great for us.
What time's kickoff on
It
Saturday?
is 12:15 kickoff.
12:15. Okay, I'm assuming there's still tickets available.
Yep, still tickets available.
that.
Not a huge amount. They haven't opened up the stadium fully. They've started opening up some of the middle tier. So, because as soon as they sell so many in the bottom ring, so the bottom ring's unreserved, and then you go top tier seats. They're £10 a ticket. So, I mean,
it would be good to
take people to see a game of rugby.
Big value.
Yeah, especially with the opportunity to pop next door and watch Cardiff getting battered later as well. You know, that would be a good.
We don't get
day.
battered unless your name is Toulouse.
Right. Okay. Let's quickly move on then to predictions for this weekend. So Harley's going to do our prediction league from now on, because apparently I can't be trusted with it because all the newfangled stuff, all the technology is too confusing for me, isn't it, Harley?
No, I just got bored one day and just filled in the boxes, and then Lee was like, "Well, you do it then."
Yeah. Fine.
I mean, there's no real changes from the update. It's still me in first, Jamie in second, James in third, and Lee lagging behind, who's only just broke 100 league points.
Let's not start dishing issues out on this. All right.
Thanks to his excellent prediction of being closer than everyone else about the Ospreys.
Yeah. I have my weeks. There are weeks where I actually do where I sit down and think about it. I actually, otherwise I just go 5 there, 5 there, and
you predicted everyone wins by 5 last week.
Yeah, I did that last week, didn't I?
As opposed to our usual Scarlets by 1.
And somehow I came the closest for the Ospreys. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right,
if only I had picked that Ospreys by 6.
I know, yeah. You should have stuck with that.
Yeah.
I know, because Jamie is slowly catching up to me. So I'm on 141, Jamie's on 135, James is on 110, and Lee has 104.
Well, seeing as James isn't going to be here for a couple of weeks, I think I stand a chance. So whoever's coming on to take his place, if you can fuck up James's predictions, that would be really good. Right, so let's start with a quick preview of Scarlets. We'll do a quick preview first, Harley, and then we'll do all of the predictions after. Okay, so Scarlet Sharks. I think this is just going to be built up on plum trees, father versus son, and all that kind of stuff, which would be nice to see. I can't remember the last time, other than the Farrells, where a father coached a side and the son was playing, but I think that's maybe something that we can do on social media before. I targeted this game at the end of the Six Nations. I said this is a really, really important game for the Scarlets. If we can string together 79.5 minutes playing well the way we have done up till now, I will live with 30 seconds of not being amazing. But we're in that bit now with, that we've shown that we can play. We just need to play for 80 minutes and show a bit of bollocks for 80 minutes. And it's just really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. We were going to do a podcast from the ground, but that's when I thought it was Saturday. And it's not, it's Friday night, so I won't be able to get there. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hard game. The Sharks are bullied up a little bit by their form in Europe. They've got something to play for. They've got some, same as us, they've got some half-decent players. They've got a really decent squad that are underperforming. It's just going to be a hard one. Really, really hard game. But fingers crossed. Yeah, that's as good as it gets at the minute. Fingers crossed, and we'll get somewhere. So Saturday then, 2:00. Ospreys play the Bulls. So the Scarlets game is live on BBC Two. The Ospreys game is on S4C. So, Josh, what do you make of the chances against the Bulls in South Africa?
Well, we've already got the points, more points than we're expecting away in South Africa already. But we're getting Darry Lake back, is what I'm hearing this weekend. So that'll be a good boost at hooker to come on. Yeah, head saying Bulls, heart saying Ospreys. I reckon Bulls, unfortunately, by 10.
See, he's going with predictions early, boys. He's going with predictions early.
Going early, okay.
Going early. Okay, Harley, what do you think of Cardiff, Edinburgh?
So I feel like Edinburgh is one of those teams that it's getting really hard to work out what they're going to do, because they've not really, although they're mid-table in that battle for the top 8, they've not really been impressing anyone really. It's taken, a Ben Healy boot or Scarlets to basically be knackered, which is basically, the one thing I didn't say during the review is they just looked out on their feet, and that seemed to be the only reason Edinburgh managed to cut them up. Was Cardiff, I think, are going to be hurting after that Ulster game, knowing they should have won. And in my heart, which is where the result really matters, they did win. And the likes of having Kabanga back, I think it's going to be a big send off for a lot of players. It's going to be emotional. Thinking back to that game against Sale Sharks after Peter Thomas, and the crowd really drove and rose Cardiff up. So hopefully, we might get an actual win this season. So we don't end up with fewer wins than the bottom 4 teams of the league, which is the way I've convinced it's going to end up at this rate.
Okay. So last game of the weekend then will be Dragons against Cardiff. So I should say Cardiff game isn't on terrestrial telly, it's only on Premier Sports, but the Dragons game against Connacht. 8 o'clock kickoff, Jane?
Yeah, really crap kickoff time, especially for families. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. Not great, really, is it?
So what are you hoping for from the game?
A win, basically. We're all hoping for wins, aren't we?
There we go. See, that's bollocks, that is. This Jamie put it on the line.
No, I'll just go through it quickly. So I think this is a big game for both teams for very different reasons. So Connacht are chasing the top 8. I watched the highlights of their game against Zebra this morning. They put 54 points on them. They cut them to shreds. Zebra, sorry, couldn't live with them. But I do think, although they are favourites for this game, I do think this is winnable for the Dragons. And I think this is a game that Dragons have targeted. JJ Hanrahan has been a really good player, former Dragons Marigos. He's been a really good player for Connacht this season. I think he's been a superb signing for him. And I was watching Pete Wilkinson's press conference this morning, Connacht coach, and he was talking about our back row threat and our kicking game and the Rodney Parade factor. So they're not taking us lightly, but it's pretty clear they're coming down here to win because they need to keep their playoff hopes on track. And for us, it's about, that basement battle that we got going over Zebra and Scarlet. So we desperately need to pick up points from this game. And it's winnable. And like I said, we will be underdogs, but we've got to make it uncomfortable for Connacht. That's when the Rodney Parade factor comes in. The fans got to get behind us. We've got to make it hard for them as possible, make it uncomfortable for them. So it's going to be tough. But we do have good battles with Connacht and Rodney Parade. I was saying on the last pod, the last time we played Connacht, they won by 2 points. They scraped on, but we were down to 14 men. We gave them a really good game. So, yeah, we know it's going to be a tough challenge. We know what Connacht are going to bring. They're quite physical, and they're very good on the counter-attack. But, this is a game I think the Dragons can win. So, fingers crossed.
Okay. So we're briefly going to do predictions. But before we do predictions, I just want to show you boys an empty glass. Genuinely finished the
well done, Lee. So, that's good for you. That was for sour beer.
I will take back any criticism that was implied of Vocation Special Edition Death by Cherries. I've managed to finish this one. I'm not going to say I liked it, but I finished it, which is a damn sight more than I did for the last sour one that I had. Right. So let's do predictions. Harley, are you going to write this in now, Harley? Or
I'm happy to. I've got the spreadsheet open.
I organised that.
Because I like spreadsheets.
That's like bringing Teacher and Apple. That is well done.
It's like doing the marking for Teacher, isn't it? Oh, look at that! I've got an A again.
So, your prediction for Scarlet Sharks?
So, I'm going to go Sharks by 1, just purely because I do think just towards that end, and it's as kind as I can realistically give Scarlets, because I don't think they've quite got everything there to win.
Okay, Bulls Ospreys.
Although it's not even a losing bonus point, I think this is a compliment to Ospreys considering what the Bulls are like. I'm saying Bulls by 8, just purely because I think just the altitude and Pretoria is going to be a factor, and they're going to be hurting after that Munster loss. And Bulls are one of those teams that if they lose a week, the next week, watch out because they really, really get pissed off.
Okay, Cardiff Edinburgh.
Cardiff by 4, big win.
Dragons Connaught.
Connaught by 5.
Okay, right, Josh. This is where you get your chance, right, to really fuck up James's predictions through the season. Now, right? So
Scarlets by 10. No.
Yeah, there you go. See, there you win.
Nothing that ridiculous. Don't worry.
I was already in.
Yeah, so
I reckon Scarlets by 10 at half time, but Sharks by 20 full time probably.
Yeah, Bulls and Ospreys.
Go on, Ospreys by 3.
Ospreys by 3. There you go. So he's balanced it out. Now, there we go. Cardiff, Edinburgh.
Cardiff by 3.
Cardiff by 3. Okay. And Dragons, Connaught.
I want Dragons to win, but yeah, I think Connaught by 7.
See, you're just trying to butter up Jamie there, going, "Oh, I want Dragons to win. I really want Dragons to win, Jim." Right, Jamie, Scarlet Sharks.
I got a feeling Scarlet's going to win. I don't know why. I just got that feeling. It depends how Sharks approach it. Are they going to go fully loaded? You know, they're quite vulnerable on the road, aren't they? I got a feeling Scarlets will win by 5.
Scarlet by 5. Nice. Bulls Ospreys.
I don't think Ospreys will win, but I think they'll do enough to get a losing bonus point. I've been really encouraged by the Ospreys. There's no reason why they can't get anything out of this game. So I'm going to go Bulls, but Bulls by 7. So they come away with a losing bonus point.
By 7. Cardiff, Edinburgh.
Well, it's Cardiff's last game at the Arms Park, isn't it? So they're going to want a good send-off there. And Edinburgh, I can't make head or tail of Edinburgh because one week they look really good, the next they look like shit. So I don't know what's going on with Edinburgh this season, but I'm going to go Cardiff by 9.
Cardiff by 9. Oosh. And then Dragons, Connaught. Can we get a Dragons win prediction out of Jamie?
Yes, you can, because the rest of you are miserable bastards. I'm going to say Dragons by 3. Dragons by 3 is my prediction.
Dragons by 3.
Why not?
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so I'd just say, before we start on my predictions, Jim, I'd already written mine in, hadn't I, Harley? Had I written mine in before? Right, Dragons by 1, James, was my prediction on there. So I've gone Scarlets by 1, Cardiff by 8, Dragons by 1, and then I ummed and ahed around the Ospreys, and I went for a draw. Now then. See? Now we're playing smart rugby, boys. Yeah.
Right. If it is a draw, if it's exactly a draw, I will give you 8 points on the prediction league. If it's not a draw, I'm going to take all of your points away. Do you want to change your answer?
You can't just fucking change the scoring system. You've been in charge of it for 1 week and you're changing the scoring system.
Do you know, actually not. If it's a draw, I will double your points. But you'll lose them all if it's not a draw.
God, Harley. Nightmare. Right.
A little bit of power. It goes to your head like every Cardiff person. Look at Nigel.
Right. Okay. I'm just going to round up a couple of things. So something that we started doing a while ago, and we started talking about it, and then I kind of forgot about it and didn't do anything. So now that our YouTube channel is actually going great guns and all of our social media is amazing and all that kind of malarkey, I want to do the thing we did before called fan casting, where people just send us like a video from the day, whether it's one of our instant reactions or a bit of this is how they felt at the game or stuff like that. But just send us a bit. If it's under a minute, great, because we can put it on the shorts. If not, we'll stick on our YouTube channel, we'll put them all together and we'll put like, this is we'll grab all the Ospreys boys together and we'll put them in a video, and then we'll do the same for the Scarlets and all that kind of stuff. So if you're at the game this weekend, or even if you're watching, just send us a video and we'll put it together and we'll put it out as a fan cast next week, and that will be super. Or it might just fall on its ass because nobody does anything. But when we did do it, it worked okay. And it was good fun. So if anybody wants to do that, by all means, send it in to us, because that'll be great. So feeder pods this week. So on Scarlet's Fever coming up tonight, we'll be doing a Ken Owens tribute. Cardiff Central will be recording on Tuesday night with a very special guest. Fingers crossed, touch wood, hopefully. I know it's like when you book a big guest. I say book a big guest. When a big guest agrees to come on, and you spend like 3 days before going, oh please turn up, and you go, oh, I want to tell everyone, but I can't, just because if they don't turn up, then I look a right tit. But yeah, one way, if he doesn't turn up this week, Harley will turn up another week, and yeah, it'd be fantastic. So everybody listen to Cardiff Central tomorrow night when it goes out. Ospreys Diary, haven't had anything from the boys, but it is just Robbie and Yestin this week. And then on Dragon's Lair, Jamie, you've got Ender from the Pirate Rugby. I call him Pirate Ender, but it's how how's it going? It's much better than his real voice. So he'll be previewing the Connacht game with you. And then we got the Welsh boys on Pod Cymru doing everything that we do, just doing it in a better language, which got to be a good thing. So that is it for tonight, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. Josh, thank you for sitting in and being a much
Josh.
Much handsomer version of James. It has to be said, you got hair in place for a start. There's none of this bloody electric stuff going on. But yeah, so thank you very much for sitting in, Josh. Hope you liked it. Gents, enjoy your rugby. Thank you very much for tonight, and we shall see you again, do it all again next week. All the very best, gents. Good night.
Ta-ra.
That's